Hey, Dan Meyer here, and today we're going to talk about WordPress. In fact, we're going to revisit a video I recorded over a year ago about WordPress stats and insights. So WordPress gives you free stats whenever you have a WordPress site, and it's really important to monitor that if you're using your WordPress for your business, especially if you're blogging a lot or selling things off of it. If you have any kind of opt-in or people can come to it, you want to understand what people are doing on your site and how they got there, how long they're staying, what they're engaging with and what they're not engaging with, and try to figure out how to up your game when it comes to WordPress. This is important because there's 5 really cool stats that I'll share with you about WordPress. Number one, it's the biggest blogging, small business / running entrepreneurs running their own business kind of website out there. In the medium-sized market or small market for businesses, it owns 68% of market share for businesses. Number two, it has 14.7% of all the world's websites are on WordPress. So there's a lot of websites out there, and a lot of them developed on a lot of different tools, but WordPress is one of the top ones as far as what they're developed on. There are 500 plus sites built every day on WordPress, so it's growing constantly. WordPress plugin directory features 55,000 plugins, so there are a lot of tools that you can use to help upgrade or keep your WordPress current, to keep doing it, to evolve it over time. And according to WooCommerce, 22% of the top 1 million e-commerce sites in the world are on WordPress. So a lot of people use WordPress to drive their business for e-commerce. Super important, because if you're watching this video, you're probably doing some of these things. You probably have a WordPress site that you're using for your business. You do have some e-commerce functionality. You're trying to share your message. You're trying to build your audience. You're trying to gather leads for your lead list. Whatever you're doing, looking at your stats and insights is super important. When I launched one of my companies in the Philippines called DMAI back in 2013, I managed WordPress every day for the first couple of years as the business was growing. And the WordPress website that we built was the primary portal for me to grow my business. And it was a key tool. And we went from my goal of starting at nothing to building the name brand in analytics training for the call centers in the Philippines. And by 2015, we had achieved that. So in about 2.5 years, I went from 0 to 60. And WordPress was the primary tool to do that. And basically, this is what I'll talk to you about, these WordPress ability to do stats based on my own experience, based on what we did with my company in the Philippines, as well as what I've done for clients across the U.S. and even a few international clients to help them build WordPress sites or to optimize their WordPress sites. In a lot of cases, the clients themselves hire somebody to build the website or manage the website. In my case, I hired a virtual assistant to manage the website. So this is something that I think we all need to do, because we need to make sure that we have a really optimal website to be able to really build a consistent and clear message that helps our audience develop certainty around what's going to happen whenever they come to work with us, to interact with us, to buy from us, to be involved in our message. So this is really what I want to talk about today. So quickly, we'll go through these different tabs or options that you have when you go to your WordPress Insights. When you go onto the WordPress Insights tab, and it's called Stats. So Facebook is called Insights. WordPress is called Stats. I get them interchanged sometimes, but make sure you keep them separate. So WordPress Stats is where you look at your traffic. And I like to look at my traffic daily, weekly, and monthly. And there's the different views. You even go out yearly. But get a sense of what's trending, right? And seeing what's really driving traffic. When I was really pushing a lot of effort through my blog, trying to build myself up as the expert in analytics training available to people in Southeast Asia, to hire someone to come in and train their team on how to be better at using data in the business. I would push content out there daily, and the content would go out to LinkedIn, would go out to Facebook. It would primarily be used to engage decision makers. So my primary audience was managers and owners of businesses that would want to hire me to train their teams. And so when I was using WordPress to do that, I looked at my stats every day to see what we're doing. I wanted to make sure that I was being viewed in the right country. And now for my DMAIPH site, the primary goal was to be relevant in the Philippines and, of course, Southeast Asia. So seeing that most of my views were coming from the Philippines was key. I also wanted to look and see, where they're coming from as far as part of the country, but also when they're coming from or when they're logging and seeing the site, and looking at that based on day of the month, day of the week, month of the year, seeing one patterns. You can start seeing if you're posting every day and you're looking at the stats tab, you're going to be able to get a sense of the patterns of who's viewing you. You also want to look at refers, like are you being referred? People are being referred to you by blogs, by websites, by search engines. You'll see that when you look at the stats. There's an area for refers, which tells you most of your views are going to come from probably search engines and then probably either Facebook or LinkedIn, but it'll depend on what you do. Maybe it's Twitter, maybe it's other websites, maybe it's things like Meetup or your business website. They all can drive traffic. So you want to figure out where your target market is and what's driving them. So obviously search engines are always going to come in number one, and Google, you can't tell for sure if it's coming from Google, but 99% of search nowadays is done on Google. So if it says search engine is coming from Google, beyond that, you want to see where to put your effort. Do you put money in Google ads? Do you want to put money in Facebook? Do you put money in LinkedIn ads? Do you want to invest in Twitter? Knowing how people are seeing your blog on WordPress will help you figure that out. Next is post in pages, right? You want to look and see which pages are getting the most traffic. On almost every website, your homepage is going to get the most traffic, but how much more? If other pages aren't getting a lot of traffic, why is that? Are you trying to get everyone to come to the web page, the homepage? When they come there, can you do something to capture them? Are you getting their email address? Are you getting an idea of what it is they're coming to view? And then when they go off and look at other pages, where do they go? What are they looking at? Are they looking at things you offer, like solutions or services? They're looking about us to figure out more if you're the legit person or if you're somebody they want to work with. Are there certain articles you posted that have gone viral that people are checking out? You'll start seeing that when you look at the posts and pages tab. Next up, you can look at the search engine terms. What are the terms people use to find you? So in any month or so, any average month of my business when I was doing the training in the Philippines, which was about 5 years, most of these search engines would have something to do with analytics, analyst data analysis. They would drive people to come to me. And so when they are searching for that, and you would get things like if you search for analytics training in the Philippines or big data Philippines or data training in Manila, those things would pop up in a search engine and bring you a DMAI. And that's what you're looking to do with search engine terms, is figure out what are the terms you should then use to be able to use in your marketing and in your SEO keywording. You want to have it all tightened up so that the search engine terms people are using to find you are the same ones that you're using to attract more people. Also, you can see if you're not getting a lot of search engine terms come back that make sense to you, then you want to change your SEO. You want to make sure that you're using things that are catchier and are going to attract more attention. You can also look at clicks to figure out where people click on things that you post in other sites. So if you share articles on your website, you share articles across other parts of social media, people are going to click that. It's going to come back and report that into the clicks section of WordPress's stats. You also can look at authors. If you have multiple authors on your page, for example, I've had a couple of virtual assistant and a couple of business partners at various times post articles. So seeing who there is getting more traffic, is it really coming from primarily me or someone else on my team that's doing something, so I can know if somebody's really hitting, a target market and they're speaking to them. I want to amplify their voice. And if it's not working out and people are really coming to see me, I want to validate that as well. So it's really kind of the things I look for when it talks about WordPress, right? When I'm talking about WordPress stats, I'm talking about looking at the data that's free to use, that comes when you have a WordPress site, that you can use to help make decisions about how to grow your business, how to scale your business, which is what I did with DMAI, right? We started with nothing and we grew the business to the biggest name in training in the Philippines. I had over 8,000 analysts that I trained in about 5-year period. I trained over 150 companies. We worked on over 50 big data projects, not just in the Philippines, but across Southeast Asia, in Singapore, in Hong Kong. So this is what I put up there as my number one success for that business, was having a really good WordPress page. Now, for my business nowadays, I actually use YouTube as my number one way to promote my business. But I wanted to share with you this success story. If you are using WordPress to drive your business, if you have e-commerce, lead capture, and trying to get your message out through a WordPress site, pay attention to the stats. Now, if you're not a numbers person, if this isn't something you love to do, you can hire a VA to do that for you. Part of what I did to be successful is I couldn't always post on my WordPress, and I definitely couldn't pay attention daily to it as far as the stats. When I first started, I did, but after a couple of years, it got to be too much, so I turned it over to a virtual assistant. And that's why I founded Sonic VA. So you can focus on what you do best by hiring Sonic VA to handle all the rest. So if there's things that you want to do in your business, but you're too busy to do, or things that should get done, but you don't have to be the one to do them, you can delegate them to a VA. You can have them conduct analysis of your business using the stats. You can have them manage the social media. You can have them manage the postings to other social media platforms, like going from WordPress to Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. You can help them create cool graphics for the WordPress site. Depending on the type of WordPress you're using and what plugins you're using and what theme you're using, you might be able to do some things with videos, so they can manage that as well. Either way, they can drive traffic to a YouTube site, or they can bring traffic from Facebook Live videos. Whatever you want to do, you can delegate to a VA. And this is important because, again, you want to be able to have more consistency in your messaging. Having something come out from your blog every day, even if you're not the one doing it, is super important. It builds up consistency. People know there's always fresh content coming from you, and your message will become clearer over time. People will know what to expect when you're delivering things because you're delivering a consistent message. Again, even if it's not you, the clarity of message will come across because you have virtual assistants speaking in your voice. And this all builds more certainty between you and your audience, so that they know that whenever they want to get fresh content on your topic, they go to your blog and boom, there it is. And you know how to keep giving them that because you're looking at the stats behind the scenes. And if you're not a numbers person and you don't want to do it yourself, you hire a VA to crunch those numbers for you. So that's my talk for today. I hope it helped. I want you to go out there now and go out on WordPress, look at the stats, and figure out how to drive your business forward. Thanks again for your time. Now go out there and have a great day.